Scott, thank you for sharing your experience, strength, and hope with us. And now, help me welcome Richie.
Okay. I'm an act named Richie. Can I get a witness? I'm here by God's grace and God's mercy. And I also like to thank the Western Mass Springfield Convention. I was counting the banners of all the conventions that I've been. I was at 7 of these conventions with a lot of people who had come and are no longer around, you know. And very grateful that it got back together and did what it did. Also like to congratulate Polo on 8 years clean. I saw your struggle. Yeah, everything. He must read the same book I read. You know. You know, this is an exceptional God that uses your weakness and your belief. You know, he don't work in the strength. He works in the weakness and the belief. And I've learned that you can't conquer what you can't confront. You know. I was going to read about mask, but there was one thing that you didn't say. And it says to mask one's intentions to disguise. Means like after a while, you have intentions to disguise. You're not disguising because you don't know you got a mask on. You put the mask on because it serves a purpose. And the purpose is that most of the time the disease works with complacency. And the mask has a lot to do with complacency. Right? We're talking about here that mask will disguise anything that looks or may feel real to you. You will believe what you believe. You believe in your own truth and not what the truth is telling you. Right? So what happens is we step back into the illusion. And then the illusion was something that we did long before we came here, because I knew how to step into a place that was not real and live there for a while, because we adapt to anything. If you stuck me in that corner, I would fight to live there. I would not want to live there. I'd say, I don't have to. And then after a month, I'll fight with you not to get out of there. Because that's my corner now. So I adapt like that. I could tell myself the lie all the time. But the bottom line is that, you know, the mask must go. Sometimes we're wearing Phantom of the Opera masks. The half mask. Right? We ain't wearing the mask, this mask, we wear this mask. Because we don't want to let go of what we got left. Right? Crazy. So, I want to read something here, and then I'm going to go to work. It says here, if I can find it, because, you know, we pray, become willing, ready, and able to let God remove destructive traits. Right? It's telling us who's going to remove it, by the way. We need a personality change if we're to stay clean. We want to change. We would approach old defects with an open mind. We're aware of them, and yet we still make the same mistake and are unable to break the bad habit. You know, as I went through life, you know, my recovery now has gotten very mature. You know, I'm older now, and I'm 61 years old. I've just celebrated 27 years clean, and doesn't mean that the masks don't come back. You don't know by any means, and don't think for 1 minute that I don't entertain a thought with 27 years of how good it might feel to do a bundle today. Okay, so, you know, like life happens, you know, things happen. But most of the time, when things happen in my life, it's because I participated in the crisis of my own self-destruction. I can't shoot the blame thrower anymore. Most of the time I have to sit down and say, what part did I play? And I put the mask back on because the mask is comfortable. It's comfortable for me to look through something where you can't see me as I would want you to see me. Because if you want to see me the right way, I feel that you're not going to love me or accept me the way I am. And that happens even after years clean. I'm addressing old timers now. I ain't addressing newcomers. Newcomers come in with a mask and stay with a mask. They don't even know they got a mask. It's about the people that have been here after 5 and 8 and 10 and 12 and 15 years that walk around this program and claim to walk in a path of righteousness, have a lot of pompous ways, right? And are self-inflicted to wear a badge because they got clean time. The longer you stay clean, the sicker the disease gets. And the mask gets thicker. It's harder to pull the mask off. Because you don't want to let anybody know. And say, God forbid you go in a meeting with 20 years or better and put your hand up and say, you know what, I felt like getting loaded today. There's a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that. And that's because of this. Sometimes we find ourselves caught up in old ideas, right? Even with time in the program. The basics are always important to recovery. We need to avoid old thinking patterns, both the old ideas and the tendency toward complacency. We cannot afford to become complacent, right? Because our disease is with us 24 hours a day. While practicing these principles, we allow ourselves to feel superior or inferior. We isolate ourselves, right? God will protect you even when you're ignorant of your enemies. Huh? I'm talking about, a lot of times, when you want to hang out with the masked men, right? You like to wear your mask. If you ever gotten a story, like in old days back on the block, you'd be talking about what you did and who you did, and you're lying. And a lot of people in here are liars. They lie about a lot of this. String of mules in Colombia, you ain't never got off the block in the Bronx. All that kind of stuff. Want to embellish their stories. They want to make stories bigger. They want to, my story's bigger than your story. Your story. No, wait, I got a better one. The better one is the truth. Because nobody can handle it. Right? So I know I got what I got today for being honest about the way I live. Right? If you want to get even with people, the greatest revenge is to live right. When you live right, people can't handle it. They rather come up in your camp and want to hear the stories. Right? They want to hear about the mask, which is easy to hide behind. It's a disguise. Who are you really? I had to ask myself a lot of questions about who I am and why do I do what I do? Why do I think the way I think? The worst thing was the internet. Crazy. I have a party in my house. It's me and my computer. There ain't got to be nobody in there. Just me and the computer. We're having a good time. Right? You identify with that. I know you identify, and the women identify with it also. Right? Don't be sitting there all, we don't do nothing like that. Right? You take your phone with you to work. You're on the phone and you're doing it all day long. Bottom line here is about getting honest and ripping yourself open and taking it was the first time when I started to do a fifth step with my sponsor. The first time, it was about who's going to get naked here. Huh? Who's going to take the shirt off first? You take your shirt off, I'll take my shirt off. You're going to take your shoes off, I'll take my shoes off. I had to share about things that I thought were despicable. But let me tell you something. It was more despicable after getting clean time and continued doing the things that I was doing before I used, right? I wasn't picking up no drugs. I learned how to do it clean and not use, not knowing that I was using. Because it talks about a variety of mental obsessions that got nothing to do with drugs. And the hardest area in my life was always promiscuous sex. Because when I came in the house, nobody was safe. Your mother wasn't safe. Your brother wasn't safe. Your father wasn't safe. Nobody was safe. At any given time, I was able to do anything if someone would step up to the, come up to the plate. Let's do it. Because the need of acceptance and the need to be loved and the need to be touched was very, very, very crucial to me. Not being told how I was loved when I was a child, and basically we're all the same. We come from the same cloth. We're molded the same. It's the same situations. But I've learned that as soon as I started to build a better relationship with God in my life, I had to get a little more honest. Because it wasn't about working and serving two masters. Right? God don't minister in my life for entertainment. God ministers in my life for preparation. And it's a big difference because, you know what? It's not about God coming where you are. It's about coming where you're going. Because it's about what I'm about to do, not what I am doing. Because what starts off ends off pretty bad with Richie C. And it doesn't have to be me picking up a hypodermic needle or eating a pill and, ain't about back pains and taking oxygen, none of that stuff. I'm talking about I know how to self-destruct without your help. All I got to do is put my mask on at night after midnight, lock my door, and it's on. You don't know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. It's premeditated murder with me. I know exactly. It isn't about me understanding it's the disease. Listen, after a while, you can't keep blaming the disease when you know something in here. You can't go, my disease made me do that. Like all of a sudden he steps up and goes, you got to go do this. It don't work like that. It works with me that I start to think, and when I start thinking, I become very dangerous. If I think long enough, if I don't tell the truth on myself. It also says here that as we grow to come to understand humility as acceptance, we both our assets and our liabilities. I had to learn what my liabilities were. Faith unlocks the grace of God. And sometimes I want to lock that grace up and choose not to be very grateful for it because, it was the grace of God that took me off 116th and Lenox. It was the grace of God that pulled me out of the video and peep shows and the swing houses and all of that stuff, which some of you might still be going. And if you have a curiosity, you're wearing the mask. You got to take the mask off. You got to allow people, listen, it's for your own, like Scott said, it's about your own personal freedom. I don't get free for you. I don't do things so that you can say and give me accolades. You don't come in my house. You don't see how I'm living. Third party and fourth party gossip and telling people stuff and all that kind of, that's your mask talking. Well, you got to put that mask on and start talking about people because you can't get your own mask off. Huh? We're talking about that mask is a disguise. It's an intention. You don't go ahead and not want to hurt people. You do it intentionally. You set it up. You'll set it up by, listen, we're keen people. Listen, if you're sitting in this room, you got out. You didn't catch life. You didn't get the bullet. That means you're pretty slick. God graced us from the nightmare to the victory. And you know what? A lot of people don't want to put a claim or a stake in the victory. They don't want to do that for some reason. We'll walk around here with a lot of clean time, but no recovery. Fourth and fifth step time, I love when I share and people leave. It's effective. I love it. Check it out. The disease holds a stronghold on us. If we still continue working in this program, when the disease holds a stronghold on us, it doesn't let us fully enter into the claim of victory and the blessings that God has given us. And the bottom line is that most of the time, You can't walk into a blessing. If you want to know why you ain't as blessed as somebody else, you got to take a look at why you're still wearing the mask. Right? We're talking about being a phony and a fraud and counterfeit. You know, being fake. You know, fake. We know how to front real good. You know, there were many times when I came and shared at many podiums early on where my life was a mess.
That's right.
And I come to a place and make you believe, because you can come up here and tell people anything and they'll believe it. They're convinced. All you got to do is it in the presentation. You can wear the mask up here and still lie. The disease comes to the podium. I want you to know that.
Yes.
Just because people come up here and share, don't think they don't wear a mask. People, matter of fact, the people that call up that want to speak have a mask on. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. They're letting you know and you hide and you acting like you don't know. Because maybe you don't. Right? Check it out. Even so, we may still go through a period of mourning over the loss of illusions and old ways. Sometimes giving up outdated survival skills feels like giving up our best friend. You mean, Spons, I got to stop that? You mean I can't do that? Why can't I do that? Because it's not conducive to your spirit. And if you're not building on your spirit, and if you're not doing the right thing and the right reason, and your intentions are good, right? If you're walking on a path and understanding how blessed you really are, you don't even know the assignments that are coming across. If you're stuck in your mask, you're blowing all of them. Want to know why you can't stay on a job, can't stay in a relationship? Because you're still wearing a mask. This is what this is about. That's all this is about. The mask is a disguise. You know what? And sometimes after you're clean, listen, you could stay clean for a long time, but after a while, the disease shows its mask to other people. Huh? Our recovery depends on our willingness to meet challenges. Our experience tells us that some members relapse even after long periods of clean time because they have become complacent in recovery, because they have not taken the mask off. Masks must go. And then it depends on what mask I put on what day. Because each mask has a different manipulation.
Come on, Rich.
There's the manipulation with the ladies. There's the manipulation on the job. There's the manipulation with my friendships. There's a manipulation with my family. What mask? They're all hung up like on the wall. Let me see, which ones did I pick today? And then I turn into whoever I want to turn into. You know? I'll become a super, what do you call those guys? I'll become like Zorro. A superhero. Right, I'm a superhero. Superhero in the land of the dark and of the disease. Walking with that. There's plenty in. There's plenty around. There's plenty of darkness that you can put yourself into. There's no need to seek it out. It'll come to you. Right? The disease has a lot of darkness that it will set you up and put you in where you'll be able. But here's the thing. When I have the disease, I'm prompted to go in places that I should not be in. When I don't have my mask, I don't tend to go those places. So you know what? I surround my people, my friends, and the loved ones in my life people who don't have masks. And at any given time, it doesn't mean that they don't have it forever. It's just like the disease doesn't ever go away. It's incurable and fatal. Incurable and fatal. The biggest debt that we can have in here is a spiritual death. It's a known fact that if we use, we could die. But when you're dying spiritually, some of us don't even know we're there. You're dying, you're stinking, you're like your body's rotten. And the people around you say, man, you're stinking. What are you doing? When Scott was doing what he was doing, I told him, I said, listen, we're in the good room, we're in the worthy room. We're worthy of God's grace. We're worthy of what God has in store for us. We're worthy to be in the best of the best of the best.
That's right.
He only takes the bottom of the barrel to carry the message. He only takes people that don't have to wear a message. Listen, he'll say, listen, strip down, don't worry about it. I got you. And he always has gotten me. In the worst messes, in the worst masked up situations that I've had in my life, the bottom line is that, he took me from muck and mire. He took me, listen, dragged out of the dope house was just a snitch, a snap for him. Taking me out of the porno houses was hard. Taking me out of the swing clubs was hard. Taking me out of the whole stove. You don't need to be a female to be a prostitute in here. I sold myself plenty on the West Side Highway. And listen to this. I did it clean. I don't need to sit here and tell you, I needed to be with the disease. I did it because I liked it. And I had to turn it over. I had to understand it was about letting go and understanding that there's much better for me. There's much better for you. I'm here to pursue you tonight. I ain't here to entertain you. I'm here that God ministers in my life for preparation. We're here to prepare for what's coming to us down the road. And listen to this, it's evil. Man, it's evil. It's so evil that you can't, listen, you can have your glasses on, you can be sharp, you can be praying in the morning and doing something despicable in the afternoon. That's why the more prayer, the more people, the more meetings, the more steps, the more of everything, the phone calls is needed. Listen, are you armed with the ammunition to deal with the mask? Well, it's coming. It's coming. And it's not by virtue of somebody that's going to make a decision for you. You make the decision. Right? So it says here that we can't allow these threats. If it's a threat, it means it didn't happen yet. That means you're in safe ground. That means you can get out. We can't allow these threats to compromise our recovery. Now check it out. Do you have principles and do you have integrity and do you have self-respect to be compromised? You get it? Some of us don't have it. Some of us have it and don't think that we do have it. Some of us have it and don't believe in the fact that you got it. That's why, I got to believe for you. When we put people in our lives, it's about encouraging people, not taking them down, not telling them that, building more stories on top of stories. It says here that in recovery, allowing resentments to build and refusing to acknowledge is wrong. Little by little hurts become small hurts and half-truths and justified grudges and turn into deep disappointments. Serious self-deceptions, full-blown resentments. When you resent, you allow other people to hold your clean time. And I worked too hard for you to walk around with my 27 years. So you know what? What I may think is corny, or what I may think is square, is right where I need to be. I don't care what you see. It's about how I live. And you know what? You can't talk about me unless you're in my house seeing how I'm living. Because a lot of that stuff goes on in here. We talk about people and that's your mask. We're slick, sly, very hip, cool, smooth, right? However you want to put it, we could do that. We do it very well. Sometimes some of us are so well recovered that when the slick, sly, and smooth step into your space, you get put off guard. But that's not the reason for you to make a bad decision and to compromise your principles in your recovery because of somebody else's mask. So check it out. What you do now is I take an inventory of what mask you're wearing when I don't have mine on. Because mask to mask, that's a problem. Because you can't see it. Because you know what? All you got to do is join up, man, and everybody. Listen, it's very easy for us to congregate with the nonsense than to step forth with the process. There's a big difference A lot of times, like, you know what? I remember years ago when I first got clean, my sponsor used to tell me, listen, sometimes there used to be 2 meetings in one space. There'd be a beginner's meeting and a step meeting. He used to say, without even knowing where I was going, I said, well, I'm going to where there's 2 meetings. He goes, go in the meeting with the least amount of people. That's the step meeting. That's what he told me. I said, well, I want to go in there. I want to be around the crowd. You know, I want to put my hand up with my 90 days and sound prolific. You know, wear the mask from meeting to meeting. Here's something that you said, go in the next meeting and act like I said it. My idea. You know, everybody go, oh, man, he's newcomer. He's good. This guy's good. Can't wait till you get 6 months. You know, like that kind. I'll be, that's right. And then I go home dying, not remembering what I said the night before. You know, because my mind wasn't there. You can't act like you got 27 years and have 6 months. You can't get what somebody got in 20 years, 8 years, right? In 90 days. If you ain't done the work. If you ain't found out how much of a fraud you are. Because we come in here so counterfeit like a $3 bill. And some of us like to stay a $3 bill. We think it's worth something. And then the newcomer women come into the room and sometimes we want to act like we know something. Or the newcomer men. It works both ways. It works both ways. Listen, when my wife left me, half of her friends were calling my house to console me. The other half was asking me out. I didn't know it then. That was like when I had about 6 or 7 years. And then I said to myself, look at this. Look how the disease presents itself. The disease, listen, God is so perfect. Made you so perfect. Right? You are in the grace of something that probably we will never understand. Grace is unmerited favor. You did nothing spectacular to get here. So once you're here, don't think it's so spectacular. God ain't interested in having a... Listen, you only know how strong you are in your weakness. You got to get weak and get down and dirty and scrape your knees clean. I'm not talking about that y'all got a gun in my neck and all that stuff. You know? I'm talking about you putting your knees down in an abandoned house, having some years clean. And wondering why you're there because you still ain't shooting dope. Talking about, you know what? Putting yourself in a place that's evil and dark and not good for you, man. Yeah, listen, we make conscious decisions to do the wrong thing. You don't got to think hard to say, oh, is this right or is this wrong? Is this right? You know it's right. Talking to yourself. You're the only one in the room. Like you're crazy. The disease will have you crazy. Right? Khalees used to say, talks to you in your own voice. Very convincing when I talk to myself. That's right, Rich. You're brilliant. Right? And the disease, listen to this. The disease doesn't want you to take your mask off, especially when you go and try to get a relationship with God. It'll fight with you with everything it's got and everything that you have. But once you go to God, it wants no part of it. Because He's not going to allow you to do things that are going to hurt yourself. And this is not about hurting ourselves anymore. This is about loving ourselves and loving each other and being brothers and sisters and taking away the prejudices and the biases and all of that stuff. Because all we got here is us. We are supposed to understand each other. And the people that are in here that take the mask off and step up to a role of leadership, it's about being a leader and convincing the group of people that don't believe. That's what this is about. Because a lot of people sitting in here right now biting their lip and don't believe. They don't believe that tomorrow can be better. They don't believe they can get their kids back. They don't believe they're ever going to get a job. They don't believe they're ever going to be in a relationship. They don't believe that their marriage is going to work. They don't believe in a whole lot of things. They're sitting here with a bag of dope in their pocket. Just thinking about using it, but not knowing they already did. You don't need to have no dope to be using. Right? You can fill up your hype with all kinds of stuff. Just put your mask on and go crazy. When you go crazy, you drive everybody else crazy. Because that's the disease's job, is to make things unsettled, distract you. Keep you from distraction so that you can't focus. You can't stay on one thing. You got to keep moving. I believe that if you keep moving, the disease can't hit a moving target. But when you're moving with your mask on, that's an issue. Right? That's an issue. So, I ain't got much more to say, but, I'm trying to say, the spiritual life has ceased to be a theory. Huh? We hear about it in meetings, and it's now becoming a tangible reality. We could see a miracle simply by looking in the mirror. The God of our understanding has taken us from spirituality, unconsciousness, hopeless addicts to spiritually aware. Right? We're talking about building the spirit, understanding that it's your spirit. The disease, listen, the disease wants to put your mask on because it wants your children. It wants your job. It wants your freedom. It wants everything that it's got. It wants your mind. It wants to take your mind and twist it. It don't take much to twist us. Yes. That's why you got to be on point and put the people that are spiritually correct in some manner, that work very hard in their life, that you put in to surround yourself. Because you know what? You are who you hang out with. Huh? You want to hang out with all kinds of masked people? And the bottom line is, you're going to put yours back on. Right? And maybe even the costume to match it. Right? So look. I ain't got much more to say. I mean, I think me and Scott hit the disease. Wendell said something, they used to say a long time. He said, go in there and put a hit on the disease. Right? Putting a hit on the disease, trying to wake some people's spirits up. Understand that you are not the piece of garbage that you think you are. You're only a piece of garbage when you look in the mirror and you have your mask on. The mask must go. I'm an addict named Richie.